partner is Chris Brown, and our project is data mining of disparate data sets. Our industry partner is Alan. So Alan proposed us with a project that helps founders and funders find each other. So over the years, Alan has copied and pasted a bunch of information about different funders into a huge Word document that was over 800 pages, pretty unstructured, but did have a bunch of URLs of different funders in there and a bunch of information about them. So our goal was to help him organize that Word document and find information about different funders so that the matching process for founders and funders could be more straightforward. Some key information that he wanted about the different funders was their URLs, their demographic restrictions, what their industry is, etc. So what we did was we made a one-time service for him to turn his unstructured Word document into a list of URLs indicated in those black arrows here. Then we used those URLs along with a bunch of different industry categories that he provided with us and questions he uses to target the different funders to help categorize them into who they're targeting, what they're trying to fund, etc. We were able to combine all of those 3 sources and use a bunch of different technologies to come up with a list, an end product that was filtered information about different funders. It gave a URL, their company name, some contact information like email. It gave a mission statement and a bunch of other information that if you were trying to get funded by someone, this would be a really helpful document for you to see. So what I did, there's sort of 2 parts to this project. In part 1, I used Python-docs to extract URLs from a Word document. And Python-docs can identify different elements in a Word document, like paragraphs, headers, etc. And I was able to successfully pull paragraphs with URLs out of that Word document. For part 2 of the project, we needed to use the list created in part 1, the list of URLs, scrape those URLs, and pull information that would be helpful for categorizing out. So I used Beautiful Soup as a web scraper to loop through the list of URLs and pull out information from them. Beautiful Soup, you can easily pull out information by tag type, which was pretty useful. Although pulling by tag type isn't great for non-standard websites, and we had over 1,000 websites, so that was interesting. We used OpenAI, ChatGPT, to answer a bunch of the questions that our industry sponsor provided. I started OpenAI with a quick start tutorial, and I attempted to retrofit that for our purpose, but I found that creating a basic script and hard coding a few questions in was the easiest way for me to test the different versions of GPT-3. You can see the different versions on the right-hand side there. GPT 3.5 was what we were mostly looking at. But I hard-coded a question, sent it through, the API saw what results there were, and I was able to check by going online and looking at the URL to manually look for quality at the beginning of this. We also pared down the list of questions that our industry sponsor wants from 120 different questions to just 8 to run through this and get answers for. We also pared down the URL list. The URL list pulled from part 1 did have quite a few URLs that were dead, so we pared that down. We did attempt to apply for a rate limit increase with OpenAI to run more information through their API, but we're not approved for that. Our end product did sort of deviate from our original plan. Our original plan was pretty open-ended, so we were able to monitor and adjust and work tightly with our industry sponsor and our team to work around blockers and come up with a minimum viable product that our industry sponsor was happy with. For our learnings and challenges, I think my biggest takeaway is that when you ask for help, people are very willing to help. So when you come into a challenge, the first option I had was asking for help. There's a lot of resources online, great tutorials from different authors. Some of the learnings that I had is that reading and understanding both my teammates' code and code that I find online can be super valuable for making similar contributions.
Hi, my name is Chris. For my contributions for part one, um, which was the portion to extract the URLs, um, I first looked into how the data was stored, and I found it was stored in XML. And then I learned how to use the Python LXML library to parse the element tree. And within that tree, I found three patterns of tags containing URLs and extracted them um, using the library. Um, for part two, for scraping the URLs and extracting meaning from the HTML files, I created a function to take all the URLs and download the HTML files locally. And this helped us with testing and reducing the time it takes to test. I then implemented functionality to find the company name, email, and industry category using Beautiful Soup. And I identified patterns to locate the company name and email, and use word matching to find the category. I also helped to implement NLP functionality using the GP3 API. And that mostly ended up using a Q&A style approach where we set the context using the web page body and then asked it a set of questions like Bailey said before that the industry sponsor was interested in. And for the original plan, as Bailey mentioned, it was very open-ended, but in our plan, we did have that. We didn't expect it to take so long to get the URLs from the Word doc, and also how long it would take to get the information from the HTML files. And we were not able to incorporate a testing suite as we originally planned, but we were able to get an MVP with a web scraper that gets the name, info, industry category, and we also had that NLP functionality. The challenges faced and overcome. Many of the things in this project I had never encountered before. I didn't understand XML, web scraping, OpenAI, API, but taking a second to read about it, read the documentation, and work through tutorials helped me immensely. And also with this project, it was very open-ended with many possible directions to take. And so having very clear communication and clarifying what was important helped me with overcoming that problem. Learning lessons, knowing what is high priority is really important. And so this really just emphasizes that communication is really key. In addition, it can be really stressful to have to produce results in such a short time period when you don't fully understand the problem, but sometimes you just need to take some time to research the problem, and it often pays off in the end. For the future directions for this project, there's many things that they can do. They could bring it to larger scale by either sending GPT-3 more questions about each company, scraping more of the web domain for each company and sending that along with the context. They could also improve efficiency by utilizing different GPT-3 models for different questions, because some models are a tenth or even less of the cost of the more advanced models. You could build a web crawler to find additional funders and founders that were not in the original Word doc. In addition, there's a lot of information that we didn't touch in the Word doc that could be extracted using an NLP or other or tools like that. And finally, we'd just like to give a big thanks to our industry partners, Alan and Jebin, for their support and ideas this quarter. They were invested in our success and unblocking us constantly along the way, and we could not thank them enough. So thank you.